Oh, okay, that's another good tip right there. Okay, so how many mistakes have we gone up to now? Like
I forgot.
four, five?
Lost count, like four,
I
five, something like
know.
that. Yeah.
Hi there, welcome back to the Chill Mom Boss Show. I'm your host, Michelle Hon. If you've been spending money on Facebook ads, or perhaps you're just thinking of investing on Facebook ads to grow your sales, reach more audience, or build awareness for your brand, you're in luck because today my guest, Mr. Jason Gan, is a Facebook strategist, trainer, and coach for the past 11 years. And he has just shared with me the five top mistakes when it comes to Facebook ads. And I've got a whole page of notes right here that I think are great takeaways that makes me want to jump onto my Facebook ads account and see where I've done wrong and how I could improve it right away. And I want you to get that takeaway as well. So do listen in to this episode. I think you'll enjoy it. So let's get right into it. Hi there. Hi, Jason. Thank you for coming on the Chill Mom Boss Show.
Thank you for having me, Michelle. Good morning.
Good morning. So I'll let you introduce to our audience.
Sure. Okay, basically, I am a Facebook advertising strategist. So what I've been doing since 2010 for the past 11 years was I was actually really helping brands, big and small, to really navigate success on Facebook advertising and overall digital marketing as well. So on the qualification side, I am actually a Facebook Blueprint certified professional since 2017. That's like an official certification by Facebook.
Right.
You need to go through like the recertification exam every year to stay certified.
Mm.
So that's something that I've been doing since 2017. And then on top of that, I am also a Facebook preferred marketing partner, which
Mm.
means my agency, because I used to run an agency, but I no longer doing that. I start going full
So
force on.
that's right. So
Sorry.
that's the 2010. That's when you started running your agency, and that's when you
Yes.
started. You were running all these ads for brands,
Yeah.
big and small,
Yeah.
and that's when you were the preferred partner. So you do know the in and outs of Facebook even before they start, making you go through the test on, in 2017.
It's kind of like, yeah, we were partner, but we only got to we
Mm,
only became preferred partner in
mm,
mid last year. In fact, to become a preferred
wow.
marketing partner, my company, although we are no longer running agencies, but we have a lot of coaching clients and they are all big spenders. So in order to become a
Right.
preferred partner, we need to manage at least 325,000 US dollar in the last 180 days. 6 months.
Okay.
It's a running 6 months, so it's like a running block.
Mm,
So as and when you
mm.
fall out of 325, you disqualify.
You're no longer preferred.
You're no longer preferred. So as a preferred, we get a lot of
Right.
insider news. And currently, our account
Mm.
is actually accumulated for, at the moment, I just checked the other day, we spent about 600,000 in the last 6 months, US dollar.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's
Wow.
what my clients are
Amazing.
spending. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
crazy.
so that's great. So yeah, for our audience, so you're in for a treat because so Jason, just a little bit of background about our audience. They are women entrepreneurs just getting started, dipping their toes into the business. They maybe even have been in the business for 2 to 3 years or sometimes even longer, but they have not really started Facebook advertising. Not really a lot anyway. They're definitely not spending $100,000 per month type of clients. So for them to want to get into Facebook advertising, what are the few consideration you would say
I
before
would
a business should get into it? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Misha. That's fantastic. I mean, actually, I would say most of the advertisers that I work with in the past few years, because I started training in 2016. So
Mm,
since then, I actually work with more than 5,000 students from 27 countries now. I would say 95% of them are actually, you know, new starters, and then just
Mm,
got started. Especially a lot of people. I work with a lot of Shopee sellers and all that. These are
right.
all,
Yes.
they are really like, mini startups, micro startups, but nonetheless, a lot of them are actually making good money. It's just that when it comes to advertising, they are very, very unsure because,
Mm-hmm.
So I want to cover a few things starting from the mistakes to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
The first
Awesome.
mistake,
Yes.
the first mistake you want to avoid when you want to start Facebook advertising is to come in with just boosting your post. I mean, that's definitely something that we don't want to get into. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that boost is useless. Boost is definitely useful, but it's just that it is not meaningful. It's not useful to help you get the action that you need. So the first thing you need to really
Mm,
understand is to understand objectives. As we all know, Facebook ads has got like 11 objectives, and each and every one of them has got different usage. And let me give you this very simple example. Even though you're targeting the same audience, the moment you use the engagement objective versus the traffic objective,
mm-hmm.
you're actually targeting different audiences. Even though you're targeting the same audiences, you do all the same settings.
Right.
The moment you choose the wrong objective or different objective, you're targeting different audiences. Let me explain. Because you see, Facebook actually gathers a lot of information about how we use Facebook and Instagram combined. I mean, for your information, for those in case they don't know, you
Mm-hmm.
advertise on Instagram as well when you're advertising on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Now, okay, because we use Instagram and Facebook a lot, Facebook gathers a lot of data about how we use all these platforms. So they know
Mm,
whether, let's say, for example, they know that, oh, Michelle is the kind of person who are analytical. She's very cautious and careful before clicking on a link. And like me, I'm the kind of person who just hit the like button all the way. I just go all the way. So that's the difference. The moment you
mm-hmm.
go for traffic, you will zoom into Michelle. But the moment you go
Right.
for engagement, you'll zoom into people like me. But
Mm-hmm.
technically, people like me who hit like button all the time do not click. But if you
Right.
need people to click, you need to go for the right objective.
Conversion, right?
Conversion or traffic, all these are the things that you need to go
Right.
to. But even,
Okay.
so this one of the most common mistake.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Because I mean that's good that Facebook has all these data points and that's why it makes the ads so robust and targeted and a lot of people are actually making a lot of good money from it, really, right? When you actually go into Facebook ads, I have dabbled a little bit. I wouldn't say I am an expert, um, but you're right. Like so sometimes they're like, okay, so because if you do run a conversion ad versus a traffic one, the spend tend to be a bit higher per conversion per lead, right? Um, but then are you really the I think the real question to ask here is it really reaching the type of people who would buy eventually?
Yes, definitely. Who will take the action.
Yeah,
You see, buying is a process. There's another thing that I
correct,
always want
correct. Who
people to
will actually
understand
want to
is
click on it and actually go
correct.
to wherever they want to do, right? Yeah,
That's right. That's right. You
whatever
want to
you
get
want to them to
closer.
do.
Yes, you want to
Mm-hmm,
get closer to the final action. But not
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
everybody would
mm-hmm.
have the conversion set up. Like, all
Yeah,
of us have a website and we do have that. But if you're selling on Shopee, then at least you want to get to the closest audience that are more likely to take the
yeah,
action. That's the
yeah.
number one
Okay,
mistake.
so let's
Hmm.
backtrack a little bit. So I
Sure.
do I do get that because my students or my community, when I ask them, so have you tried Facebook ads or Instagram ads? And like, yes, I have. And when Jason was talking about boost is not really Facebook ads, meaning when on your Instagram post you just posted something and then Instagram or Facebook tell you do you want to reach more people, hit that boost button. You can do that. It just help you reach more people, but then it doesn't help you reach your specific objective. So therefore, you need to look at actually going into your Facebook ads manager and start an ads. And that's where Jason comes in and train people on this and actually help businesses manage that. Because if you actually go into that, there's so many things. You get really confused, and that scares a lot of people off. So,
Yeah.
so that's why it's so valuable to have Jason on our episode today. So let's move on to mistake number 2 now, Jason.
So the mistake number 2, okay, is definitely not excluding people. Now, here's this is something getting very. this may get technical, but let me break it down.
Technical.
It's getting technical. You see, like, let me give you a very simple example now. If you run an ad, for example, and the ad is a video, for example, and the video is a 1-minute video, and you're trying to get people to click and go to your website to sign up as a lead, for example, that's a very simple process, right? So when you run this advertisement, which is a video, driving people to your website, the first question is, do you exclude people who have landed on your website? And second thing is, do you exclude people who have watched your video maybe up to 25% because you're using a 1-minute video? The theory is this. You run the ad because you want to get them to go to the next destination, but they have done it. They have done it, but you do not exclude them. That's what? That is budget waste. If you agree. Because I've seen your ad, I've clicked to your landing page, and I'm still seeing the same ad. Yeah. What are you trying to do? You want me to take the same action again, which I've done it?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? See, this is
you don't want to be showing it twice.
Yeah. But if you want to show the other ad, the next ad, which is the retargeting ad, which you want to target people who watched up to 25%, went to the website, but have not signed up. You want to retarget with them with another ad. Now, the another ad has to be a more persuasive message and all this kind of thing. But here's the thing. The most commonly made mistakes about, advertising, if you really dip your toe into this deeper, and you will realize that the moment you are effectively able to exclude people, you save at least 20 to 30% of your ads budget. And you release the ads budget to reach more people, because that's what you want.
Otherwise it gets shown to those people again and again and again, right? Yeah, that's why sometimes I get shown ads again and again.
Yeah. So that's the exclusion. This gets a bit technical, but the moment you understand the logic behind it, you realize this is a very powerful thing. 20 to 30%.
I've always excluded leads, like people who've already signed up for leads, then no need to target them. But yeah, you're right. Even people who have watched it, you can still exclude that. Okay, awesome. We got so much juicy stuff here. So I want mistake number 3.
Okay, mistake number 3 is not analyzing your ads. You see, this is really where I come in strong, because I'm famous for I'm like a Facebook ads doctor, people pay me to come in and look at their ads, and immediately within like 10 minutes time, I'm able to tell you what did you do right or wrong. You see, Facebook advertising, okay, we need to strike a balance over here. Okay, I have met a lot of people who actually get too indulged into analytics, analyzing the numbers and all this kind of thing, and they forgot what they are looking at.
Yeah.
But to me, it's very simple. You want to look at meaningful numbers. You want to look at meaningful numbers to identify what you did right or wrong. So basically, I'm going to give you a few if you run ads, okay? To decide whether your ads is running good or not, right? The first thing you want to monitor is really your CTR. If you go into customized column, you're able to pull out the CTR, which is effectively click-through rate.
Yeah.
Now, CTR, there are 2 types of them, okay? 2 types of CTR. The first CTR is called CTR all, ALL, or everything. And the other CTR is called CTR link click. Now, let me tell you the difference. CTR all stands for, you see, when it comes to a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad, there are many bloody things to click. Clicking the like button is a click. Clicking your profile is the click. Clicking to play the video is the click. So that's CTR all, meaning that if your ads is getting engagement, that's everything. So your CTR all, our benchmark is very simple. If you're not 2% and above, you fall below the average.
Then that's not a good ad.
Okay, that's an early sign of not a good ad. But then we have another CTR, which is what we call the CTR link click. Now, CTR link click is effectively when people see your ad, they really click on the call to action button to go to the next step. So that's link click, okay? That's the benchmark of it is 1%.
Okay.
So it's 2% and 1%. If you fall short, doesn't matter. Let's look at your cost per result. If your cost per result is satisfying, let's say, for example, if you've been running lead gen ads on your website, for example, and your cost per lead is standing like maybe like $5. As long as you're at the level of satisfactory, that is fine, But of course, CTR, for both CTR combined, is a sign to decide whether your creative is converting.
Mm.
It's the
So
deciding.
okay, so creative means the either a graphic, an image, a video,
Yep,
and your caption, your
that's right.
copy,
That's right.
both.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
Okay.
So this is a
Yes.
yeah, this is
Okay.
a yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask like, how do we that was like one of the questions that I prepared. Like, how do we decide? How do we know whether our ads is doing well? And you've already answered it. And most of the time, people don't realize that you look at CTR well. Actually, when I say people, I mean me. I have not looked at that number, so thank you very much. I will go and look at it. And also the most of the time we just go by the cost per lead, right?
Yeah.
Whether this still falls under whether we can still afford them. So what would you say like is the appropriate cost per lead? At what point that is, it goes up, like as we know, the longer you run, sometimes it goes down, like when it's testing it's pretty high and then it goes down, and then I think it reached a saturation and then the cost per lead goes up again. So at what point do you cut it off and say, no, now this is too expensive for me? So is there like a percentage of cost per leads um, based on your sale price, maybe?
That's definitely one angle to look at it. Like, if you know your business process, then you work backward and you do your math along the way, then you definitely will
Yeah,
have
the conversion.
yes, then you have definitely have a
Yeah.
comfortable number of cost per lead to start with. So as long as your cost per lead is beyond your expectation, then definitely you need to do something about it. But that will lead us to the mistake number 4,
Right.
which is most people kill a campaign prematurely.
Yeah, nervous. It's like, oh my God, it's got so
Nervous,
high.
yeah, panic
Yeah.
attack. Oh my God, so high, let's kill it. Here's my philosophy. Agree or disagree, right? To me, it's very simple. Whether your campaign is successful or unsuccessful, you need to find out what you did right or wrong, because otherwise, how do you move on? How do you do better next time? But here's the thing, a lot of people, when they have an unsuccessful campaign, they just, chuck it together and throw it into a rubbish bin. To me, I want to look at it. Now, here's the thing, if you have a cost coming up, tell me what could be the culprit. Which metric could be the culprit? You see, I want to clarify one thing. When you're running ads on Facebook and Instagram, you don't get charged per click or per lead. You get charged every time your ads get shown to your audience. So effectively, your default charging block is CPM, cost per 1,000 impression, the CPM. So let me tell you this. I would say 80 to 90% of time, when your cost per result comes up high, it is actually because of the CPM increases.
Yeah.
Now, CPM is something that you have no control. Like for now, for example, if you run ads today, you're going to suffer bad CPM, super sky high. Why? Because it's 99.
Right.
As we are recording this episode, right? It's 99. Every time it's seasonal. CPM is very seasonal because CPM is effectively the market demand and supply. The more advertisers come into the market at that point of time, and the cost will come up, because Facebook is a marketplace like this. They have a very limited supply because they can't show too many ads to you. Otherwise, you will hate it and you don't come back.
Yeah.
So that's the balance that you need to strike. So CPM, that's why a lot of times when you have your cost coming up, first thing first, look at your CPM. If your CPM is the one that is causing the increase in price in your cost per lead or whatnot, you can actually pause it first, shelter through, let's say 99 or 1010. Okay. After that, trust me, I guarantee today, let's say if your CPM is $10, tomorrow it may fall back to 5.
Right.
Because it's after, it's beyond. I mean, yeah, we have gone through that. So that's the mistake. That's why I always encourage people to look deeper into your campaign, but that's what I do. Of course, I'm not expecting everyone else to do that. But seriously, like another point that you brought up, Michelle, just now was about the saturation. You see, saturation is also actually something that people, is a mistake that also people commit. Now, in my opinion, I don't know how other people define saturation. My opinion is saturation means, let's say if you're targeting 1 million people, for example, in your audience target size, If you have exceeded 600,000 of them, that's saturation.
Mm.
If you have not, that's not saturation. So the easiest way to compare whether you have saturated your audience is to look at the number of people that you have reached and then versus the audience size that you're trying to target. Often than not, I would say
Good
90%
point.
of people, they
It's
throw a
not
campaign away.
saturated yet.
Process. Let me tell you this. I was just looking because I'm preparing for my another campaign, which is on another seminar that I'm having. I have a client. Okay, it's a property. It's not a client. It's a coachee anyway. I'm no longer taking clients, but this coachee has a campaign that has been running since February 2020 until now.
Wow.
With the
The
same
same
audience,
one.
same audience targeting, same creative, 100%.
Wow.
They have reached. They have spent 100,000 ringgit in this campaign overall up to now, more than 100,000. They have reached 1 million people at a frequency of 4x, which means they have 4,000 over 4 million over impressions, 1 million reach. So if you tell me
Right.
saturation, that's why.
Right. Correct. I get what your point. Yeah. Because sometimes people do need to see it, twice to actually like get it sink in. Oh, I may not need it the first time, but the second, oh, I thought about it. Like sometimes you miss an ad, but then I forgot what it's called. You got to see it the second time, the third time, you're like, okay, I'm ready to buy now.
3
That's
touch points
true.
for the ads, So as long as your frequency is not beyond 5 in the overall long-term period. I mean,
Mm,
frequency is also another number that we look at, but we have the benchmark for a 7-day monitoring, and we have the benchmark of the campaign long monitoring. Like for that case that I mentioned to you, 1 million reach, 4 million impressions. That's like 4x over a year to me. Like, come on, man, let's keep going. I was telling him, I mean, don't kill this ad. It's so cheap. Can you imagine cost per lead for a property client? It's a
oh,
14
wow.
ringgit, 1-4.
Oh, that's
14 ringgit.
great.
That's like insane, That's
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, like yeah, that was what I was going to say. Like, so if a campaign goes well, let's say for your first launch, because usually by the second launch, people kill it and just come up with a new set of creatives and new set of ads and retargeting. Like they do it all over again. And again, I always say they, I mean me. So really, if a campaign is doing well for the first launch, can you actually reuse that for your next launch?
technically you can, but of course you
Right.
don't expect the same outcome because
Mm,
seasonal. Remember, we have different period we are at. We have different CPM. That's the first thing that will affect
that is true.
the
So
overall.
sometimes it's not really what is with our ads, it's just really the season that it is doing.
That's right. It's the time. So
Okay.
sometimes when you want to
So
plan your
time. Yeah.
launch, like you need to actually
Mm,
avoid like don't launch campaign now. Now is not good.
right.
It's beginning of
Yep.
September until like the 9/9 right now. Don't launch anything. That's why my launch is on the 11th. That's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
avoid all
Yeah,
these
sounds
crazy
good.
big dates. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Oh, okay. That's another good tip right there. Okay. So how many mistakes have we gone up to now? Like
I
four,
forgot.
five?
Lost count like four,
I
five, something like
know.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any more for us?
I think eventually these are all the essential ones, but of course,
Mm,
another thing that I really want to bring it up and hammer through here is, I want to highlight that I'm an advocate of the long-term evergreen campaign. That's why
mm.
I brought up the example of a campaign that has been running for more than 1.5 years now, and
Yeah.
I have a lot of cases among my clients that have campaigns that has been running for at least 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, kind of thing. The idea of having evergreen campaign is really about taking a headache off from the constant chase of what's the next creative, what's the next best image, what's the next best audience targeting combination. What I
Mm,
want to bring to the table here is I want to help you gain the higher level of awareness to look at your overall campaign. Okay, don't get too emotional, but I want to guarantee that it is totally possible to have a long-term evergreen campaign as long as you know how to do the exclusion right. It's the exclusion actually
Okay.
that
It's
helps
the
you achieve this thing. So yeah, so that's
right.
really yeah.
Okay. So if you say like, as long as you do the exclusion right, but is there like a minimum reach that you should be targeting for if you're running an evergreen?
What do you mean by minimum reach, as in audience size?
Yeah, audience size, sorry, audience size.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. That's a very good question. Okay, to me, my benchmark for audience size varies for different countries. Like I serve the
Mm,
Southeast Asian region. Like the minimum size for Singapore and Malaysia and Philippines and Indonesia, they are all different. But nonetheless, let me
yeah.
give you a very simple benchmark that you can look into. Okay. I think it's definitely wise to target 10 to 20% of your overall Facebook ads population in your country.
Right.
So like for
Okay.
my case in Malaysia, for example, we have we have 27 million Facebook users, for example,
Yeah.
27. So I can tolerate myself to have my audience up to 2 to 5 million.
Yeah.
I
But
used
in
to
Singapore,
advocate,
it's like,
yeah, Singapore is like a serious crazy. So like Singapore is what 4 million Facebook users?
yeah, five
Yeah,
maybe, or Facebook user, not the total
yeah, Facebook users is about
population.
4 last I checked.
Yeah.
So I think
Maybe
somewhere
like
around
400,000.
400,000 to a million is actually okay.
Ah, okay.
And in fact, that's not it shouldn't be the benchmark for you to set up the evergreen, but I would say it's at least for you to have a campaign that can have a healthy learning. We all know that when you run
Mm,
a Facebook ads, they will tell you that it's in a crazy learning phase, and a lot of people get agitated with the yellow exclamation mark and say, "Oh, how is it still learning limited?" I
learning.
want no. I mean, let me say this. I've been saying this during my AMA for like 1,000 times now, but I will say it again. Learning limited is not going to kill your campaign.
Mm.
Please don't get too. I mean, I know, right? The moment you look at it, it's cringy. It's
It's like,
cringes me.
yeah, it's like you're going horse racing and it's still like at the gate not going, right? But
Yeah,
I get what you mean, but in reality, it has already started showing to people. It
it is.
doesn't mean that it's not off the gate yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
But
that the learning.
us
Yeah,
human,
I
yeah.
totally understand. That's why it's very difficult to detach your emotion.
Mm,
But you need to.
mm,
You
yeah,
need to.
yeah.
That's why you need to be objective. That's why I want what I've been doing in the past 1, 2 years, especially when I go to the higher level of a strategy discussion on Facebook ads. What I really wanted to achieve is to help people understand the meaningful things to look at instead of just look at the cost per lead. It's coming up, let's kill it. Oh my God, that's not the right thing. That in my opinion, that's not the right
Mm,
thing to do. That's why we have to be objective.
right. Right. There's so many things that comes to Facebook ads, right?
I
And
know.
I'm sure that in this like half an hour to an hour time that we have together, we're not gonna learn everything. I just from what you just told me, I felt like I need to like log on immediately and like go through all my ads and see what was working, what was not, all the mistake that I have done, which other campaign perhaps were doing well that I could reuse for my upcoming launch. And I do know that you have a free challenge for our audience. So would you tell us a little bit about that?
I would say, in fact, I actually do my free things all the time in my private Facebook
Ah,
group. But
mm-hmm.
if anyone wants to hop on and learn Facebook ads, if anyone wants to really start in a meaningful way, I have I have a course. It's no longer free. I apologize for that. But
Okay.
anyway, yeah, I have to touch minimal, else I'll be like, okay, just very minimal. It's very cheap. The idea here is very
Okay, cool.
simple. I want to create something that is that able to help you really get stuck in the right way. So in fact,
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this since last year until earlier this year. I've been doing this thing called the 6-day challenge.
Right.
It's a 6-day live training that I used to do, but I've actually turned it into an evergreen one, which is a recording. So the benefit of
Yeah.
it is, the moment you purchase right now, you can just get in and and learn. It's a 6 lessons program, 1 hour each,
Mm-hmm.
and I cover
Mm-hmm.
crazy lot of things inside there. So right from the very beginning on how to set up a business manager until even I have a lesson that discuss over 30 over ads by other people to actually kind of like a dissecting, and this is what they did wrong,
Dissect.
this is what they did right,
Oh,
that
oh
kind of
wow,
thing.
that's so Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be so useful.
And
Awesome.
I have, towards the end of it, the last two lessons, I have a detailed walkthrough as in how do I set up my Facebook ads campaign? How do I do my exclusion? How do I do my second tier? Because my framework is famous because I have this two-step funnel framework, which means anytime I launch an ad, I have two ads at least. I have two ads running simultaneously. The first ad is I call it the tier one, which is the evergreen, the fresh, targeting fresh audience. And then once they have taken certain actions, I would actually run the tier two ads to retarget them. But I only retarget them for a period of time because I have this argument. Some people may disagree with me. To me, it's like very simple. There is this expiry date of an purchase intent, if you agree with me.
Yeah.
If I'm interested in buying something, I'm only interested for a certain period of time. After that, I've bought it from someone else or I've lost the interest. So you want to follow them only for the optimum period of time. So for e-commerce, let me break it down. For e-commerce, if you're selling something like a lower ticket, maybe just 3 days. Like for example, if I'm going to buy a phone casing for my phone, that's definitely within a few days I'll have to make decision. Else my phone is gonna I don't know when it's gonna suicide, something like that. I don't know. but anyway, so that's the intent. But if I'm buying something like a treadmill, for example, that's probably longer, maybe like a month. You have to understand the purchase intent, how long it lasts for your product. So we only follow them for that period of time. So that's my two-step. And in my 6-day challenge, which I believe Michelle is going to include a link over there, that's where you can actually sign up. And it's a lifetime access program. So you can watch it over and over again. I know, to be frank, a lot of people came back to me and say that, Jason, your thing is it's kind of deep, but it's not me. Trust me, it's Facebook ads. Okay, I do my very best to make it very, very understandable. And trust me, you only need to watch it maybe 2 times or 3 and you get it. And it takes practice, seriously.
Yeah.
You have to
and I'm actually pretty glad. Yeah, and I'm actually pretty glad that it's evergreen and it's not like consecutively 6 days, because a lot of us are very busy, especially my audience, busy moms. So having able to just watch it as and when it's on demand is actually even more valuable to us.
Yeah,
So
I
you can just
understand
watch
that
it, as and whenever.
That's definitely, you can watch it anywhere anyway. So that's the power of what we have
So
right now, right?
So I would definitely add a link below this show notes, in our show notes, in our blog, in everywhere you can find it. And besides that link, besides the link to your 6-day challenge, where else can our audience find you?
Oh, okay. Definitely, you can go to my YouTube channel. YouTube is something that I'm really having fun with right now. I actually only started my YouTube channel last year in sometime May.
Wow.
But now, can you imagine? I posted over 500 videos. I know, right? I post at least one video a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, what's it called?
You just go to YouTube and search for Jason Gan.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you should
There's
be able to
only
see
one Jason Gan.
Yes, there are many Jason Gan, but the Jason Gan with this, I mean, I'm not sure whether you're going to include my face over there. So that's that. So in my YouTube channel, I actually what I do is I answer a lot of Facebook ads questions. So technically, every week I host 30 minutes AMA to answer questions, and after which I would actually repurpose the content into my daily YouTube videos. That's how I do this. Yeah. So I mean, since we are at this topic, right? If anyone wants to build something for long term, if you really want to build so I call this the crazy traffic engine for long term, you have to look at YouTube.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Can you imagine? I'm just gonna put a note here. I mean, just for your consideration, YouTube has actually made me more than 6-figure in revenue in US dollar in the past 1 month, not through ads. I mean, of course, I do show ads on my videos, and that is really not, I mean, I don't even look at it as money anyway. So, but to be frank, because of YouTube, a lot of people found me from all around the world and they came to my website, they bought my courses and all that. That's why over the past 1 year plus, six figure. That's something that I didn't expect at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, more and more people are staying at home, and when people are looking for value, when people are looking for to have their questions answered, they either go to YouTube. I mean, that's the easiest form to get any form of information and value. And if you can provide that value and show that you're an expert, there's no reason why people would not want to do more for you and purchase for you. And I like you just been on for what, less than half an hour now. And we got so much value from you already, Jason. And I'm sure whoever who goes to your YouTube channel would definitely find that you are the trusted advisor that people who want to go to understand Facebook ads and to want you to have a look at the Facebook ads.
Yeah, I mean,
So
that's
thank you
something
so
that I
much.
do. Yeah, no problem. No
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. So before you leave our audience,
Sure.
is there anything, but I always ask this to all my guests, is there any one thing, it doesn't have to be Facebook ads related, but if it is, it is, right? What's the one advice that you would give beginner entrepreneurs? Not, yeah, beginner, newbie, no, not really newbie, like,
Entrepreneurs,
yeah,
right?
someone who's just getting started, yeah.
Okay, okay. My only advice to you is very simple. One thing at a time. You got to be very laser focused on one thing, at least one thing at a time. And you have to understand that when I say one thing at a time, you have to be ready for the long game. Like when I started my journey, I mean, if you don't mind, I will share a bit about my transformation a little bit, because
Of course.
since 2016, right, I've been running all these physical training classes since 2016. But last year in 2020, when the pandemic hit, my business model really like crumbled. So since March until August 2020, we had a vacuum of revenue. We didn't get anything at that period of time. So I decided to actually really like change the entire business model. So I was focusing on one thing. I was actually focusing on YouTube. So if you are trying to use social media, okay, one thing that I can see a lot of people when they want to get started, they kind of like jump on every single damn thing out there and they want to be on every platform. Trust me, you can't. You can't. You got to focus on one, and you want to build it for long game. Don't expect something to come out and start making money for you in like 2 to 3 weeks time. You got to be ready to build it for long term. That's what you see. I've seen so many people that dabble. I'm not saying that trying is not good. Okay, but if you are trying to build a business, that must be something that you want to do for a long, long time to come. So the persistency is really important. Like whatever I do, I'm ready to do it for at least a year to keep doing it. So when I embark on a journey to do a daily posting kind of thing, I wasn't ready, to be frank. But I was like, okay lah, let's do it anyway. So 1 year now, yeah, did you see the result? It will come. Just give yourself a year, one thing at a time, focus on it, do it very well for that one thing for a year at least. I believe things is going to come.
All right, that's so good. Yes, be focused and one thing at a time. Have the patience. What's the rush anyway? I do have a follow-up question on that though. So when you decide on that one platform, how do you even decide it's Facebook and it's how do you even decide that it's YouTube and not Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is that's the latest thing?
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the question. That's an amazing question. You see, a lot of people was actually asking me this thing. It's like, why YouTube over that? I think this comes back to the business nature. Now, if you're in fashion, then maybe YouTube may not be the right fit for you, but for my industry, because I'm in knowledge industry. So for this kind of thing, for whatever I share, it has got a long shelf life, really, really long. We have a long tail so-called market for my industry. So if your business is really, if you're selling something that you can still sell exactly the same thing in 5 years to come, then you want to go YouTube. Why? Because you see, YouTube is a search engine, effectively. The second largest search engine owned by the largest search engine, so
yeah, that's true.
So when you build your YouTube, your Google ranking is going to come up in no time. So when this comes hand in hand, if search traffic is your bloodline, then you have to go there. However, if you're in fast moving like fashion and all that, then you have to go Instagram, Facebook, because this is where people consume this kind of content. But the downside about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all that is, the biggest problem about all this content is that they are not searchable.
Yeah.
Okay. They are not searchable. They are not indexed properly. They are not organized properly, and people are not trained to consume content in the longer form on these platforms. So you got to decide. Okay. So yeah, that's why after I look at all these things, I realized, okay, I think YouTube is the place, because the reason why I want to go YouTube is because I'm comfortable with camera and I can't write. I can't write. I'm not a blog person, not like Michelle. I can't. So I decided that, okay, let's go video then.
Let me just keep talking.
Yeah, just keep talking.
It will come out. Yeah. Just sharing. Yes, exactly. So the number one thing to choose the right platform is also like, what do you enjoy doing? Sometimes that, I mean, beyond your industry, beyond how people where your target audience is really, what do you enjoy doing? And I think that's the one key that would keep you in the long run in whichever platform that you choose. So you 100%. Do you. So yeah, thank you so much, Jason. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing a lot of good gems. We can't wait to hear more from you in the future and see where it takes us. And for the rest of you, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are looking to connect with Jason, do look him up on YouTube, search for Jason Gan, look for his face. And we have included the link to his 6 days challenge. And if you are serious on growing your business using Facebook ads, I highly recommend you check out the 6 days challenge. Bye bye now. See you next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
All right. That's it. Let's stop.
Yeah, it's cool.